Welcome back to another segment of Daytime Corks and Spirits presented by Georgetown Square Wine and Liquor. Hi, Steve. We're back in your store today.
Good afternoon, Chelsea. How are you today?
Great. Tell us who you brought in.
We have Jeff Travis. He's the New York State Marketing Manager for Old Elk, which is a super bourbon in a hot category, a very hot category.
That's true.
As Jeff will be explaining.
Yes. Tell us about Old Elk.
Well, hello. Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for having me in. Briefly, Old Elk, we are out of Fort Collins, Colorado, the fastest growing ultra premium bourbon for the last 2 years in the United States, which is great. We've been national since the middle of 2019, and we've come a long way in a short amount of time. So the owners of Old Elk, the Richardson family out of Fort Collins, Colorado, well known for OtterBox phone cases. So if you look at your phone cases,
yes.
OtterBox Life Proof, they started that in their garage in Fort Collins, Colorado, which is it's a really cool story. We won't get into it too deep, but they are essentially serial entrepreneurs. They like to grow businesses from the ground up.
And that training led them to becoming a distiller.
Yeah, well.
From OtterBox to bourbon.
Yes, exactly. No, the story goes literally at Kurt's ranch in Wyoming one day, was sitting around and a friend of his said, you ought to get into the whiskey business. And he said, wow, it sounds like a good idea. So what he did essentially is looked up what a lot of people see as one of the best in the industry, which is Greg Metz. Greg Metz is our master distiller. He spent 38 years at a company in Indiana called MGP. 15 years as their master distiller. So a lot of people know who MGP is. They're the name behind a lot of brands on the shelves in your store and other stores.
Well, tell us a little bit about your wonderful.
Sure thing. So the first thing, the Richardsons went to Greg Metz and said, hey, listen, the first bourbon we want, 2 words, smooth and easy. Don't care what the mash bill is, don't care what it costs, smooth and easy. So Greg Metz, with his 40 plus years of experience, designed this first mash bill. This is our flagship bourbon, which is very unique. 51 corn, 15 rye, and 34% malted barley. So
It's got a beautiful aroma.
So malted barley
Gorgeous.
in a bourbon is usually somewhere between 6 and 10% on average. He went extreme with 34%. So notes of like rich toffee, vanilla. So not sweet like corn, but very smooth and easy.
Okay.
Out of all that you have here, what are the most popular bottles?
So our blended straight bourbon, our wheated bourbon, those are 2 of our core 4 items. We also have a wheat whiskey, which is 95% wheat, 5% malted barley, and our straight rye, which is also 95.5 rye. 95.5 rye is what Greg Metz really made famous in his years at MGP. A lot of big name brands still source their rye from MGP. He decided to make a wheat whiskey under that same mash bill, 95 wheat, 5% malted barley. So those, the core 4 really are our top 4, the blended straight and the wheated bourbon. Wheated bourbon's very hot category right now, growing thanks to a few big names that we won't mention.
Yeah, well, the entire bourbon category is very hot. And Old Elk has one, I believe you only have like 18 bottles came to New York State.
So that's the, on the end, the Infinity Blend. That's a once a year release that we do. Greg Metz actually started it in 2021, which is a blend of our 6-year-old straight bourbon with a couple different Kentucky bourbons. And the idea behind Infinity Blend is you keep adding to it and it never ends. So the 2022 consisted of part of 2021. 2023 consists of part of the 2022 blend. And then it also includes some of our 10-year wheat whiskey, our 7-year wheat whiskey, and our 8-year straight bourbon.
And so on it continues.
Is the oldest brand in here any older than Chelsea?
She's pretty young, but not quite. So 10 year is the oldest in that bottle.
Okay.
We got to get into the pour that you did, because this is pretty cool.
Yeah, so it's funny. People love it, and they usually think it's a stopper, but that's why I wanted to demonstrate on air. It's actually a pour spout. So we started this a couple years ago. It was a silver elk pour. Last year and this year, or last year was a gold, And this year, it's a matte black finish. It's not out in New York yet, but it will be. It's really, really sharp.
Exclusive. Got to keep an eye out for that. But viewers, if you're interested in tasting any of these, you can come on down to Williamsville to Georgetown Square Wine and Liquor. Thank you guys.
Thank you very much, Chelsea.
Thank you.
Georgetown Square Wine and Liquor has to offer. Stop by the store to browse their selection or head over to their website at gtownwine.com.